Mr. Zen.
Here we are again.
My God, it's another Monday before you freaking know it, man.
Monday.
Wasn't Monday just wasn't the devil card just last yesterday?
It seems like it was. It really does.
Indeed. Yeah.
Especially the end of the year, the days just seem to go really fast, and it's like, it's just all of a sudden Christmas is here, and New Year's and all of that stuff. So, but welcome to the Fool's Journey, everybody who's out there tuning in. We are here on, what are we on? Episode 17? Wow.
Episode 17.
Amazing.
Card number 16, the Tower.
Amazing. Yes, we have the Tower. I have my Tower card pulled out and ready to talk about. I was thinking of just jumping right into the show with the video. What do you think?
Well, yeah, except I'd like to give a little setup to that video because it's kind of really pretty cool. One of the things about the Tower is kind of like it has a destructive element to it, and I was investigating at one time, the whole sound thing and using sound to create and sound to actually destroy, which, not a whole bunch of people have examined that, Walls of Jericho, that whole kind of thing, know. And I got deeply into this branch of investigation called cymatics. And that's where sound, you actually are able to visualize and see sound waves and the shape of those sound waves. And my first run across on that was seeing some metal plates set up and then running different frequencies like the solfeggio tones, 138 hertz and on up. And seeing that on those little plates, the sand that had been evenly distributed on that kind of formed out into a weird, perfect geometric shape that happened every single time when those tones were played. So, it just woke me up to the fact that sound itself has a visual signature if you pick a medium to be able to see it in, right?
Yeah.
So, my best apprentice, Brannon, has been with me for a long time. By this time next week, Christmas will have happened the day before, and Brannon's coming up on Monday, and I'm hoping to get him to stick around and hang with me with the show. At the very least, we'll have better sound because he'll hook me all up with. He's the sound guy and the engineer and the techno wizard of the duo, and
cool.
That'll be super cool. And so anyway, he comes over one afternoon, and we had been investigating the whole cymatics thing, and he has a big 15-inch speaker he'd taken out of some old speaker cabinet. Long story short, we wound up using an old stereo amplifier, this big ass speaker, and stretched saran wrap over the top of the speaker, and then took Dawn dishwashing detergent, which got spread on top of the saran wrap, and then we blasted the song that you're about to hear, that's what made all of the designs in it. This is awesome. A gnarly song. It really is.
I noticed when I was watching the video, I was like, "Oh, is that cymatics that's happening there?" And
that's
I was
exactly
like,
oh,
right. And then I'm even surprised to hear that you actually generated those cymatics yourself. That's awesome. Julie B is saying great mandalas with cymatics I'm exploring, and I just brought this up real quickly. Just a whole bunch of different kind of representations of cymatics.
There you go. That's great. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a very cool science, and it's just like you said. It's just evidence of this higher interconnection of frequencies. With the visual representation of it, oral representation of it. It's really just awesome. Very cool. All right, well, let's start this episode off with this exciting new video. This is the Tower.
Sound warning. Holy crap!
Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
Nice, 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 nice.
You know, it is really way better to be the lightning than it is to be the tower, which was the whole point of that song.
Yeah.
And
So let's
luckily,
talk about it.
yeah, well, there you go. Can you bring that thing up, kind of
Yeah,
at all?
absolutely. Let's
Yeah,
do it.
let's take a look at that.
Uh,
Hey, just out of curiosity, did that video freeze a few times during the playback?
you know what? It looked like my my Wi-Fi signal was dipping down a little bit, so I turned off the Wi-Fi because I'm plugged in on the hard wire. I don't know anybody out there, Jilly, Celestial. Did you experience that video a little choppy, or how was it? Let me know, and let me know how our signal is. But I don't know. I'm not worried. Too worried about
Okay,
it.
so this card is crazy, man, and you know it strikes fear in a lot of people's hearts, you know, because like along the way, you know, the fool is gone and like talked to all these people. You had this little brush of death comes out, like you know, he goes down into his deepest shadow side and he like sees all this stuff that like he's like deals with the devil and that whole side, you know, of that of himself there, and then he comes out of that and he looks up and he sees this lightning just like blow up the tower to where he was headed. So that kind of represents his point of view before he like went through his shadow side, and the revelations that he got in that shadow work precipitated this like kind of destruction of the house he had built to that point. And the point to that was that that house had been built on illusions, that the foundation of that wasn't really real and firm, and it had to go, in order for him to go back to ground zero and start again with the new knowledge that he had and the new revelations. And it's not just that it got blown up and now he's got to start over, but he starts over with new knowledge and a new way to build it correctly this time. And as painful as that can be at the moment that it explodes, it ultimately, I don't know about you, but when it comes to things that are painful, and I know they're going to be painful, I would really rather have a super quick, excruciating moment than a drawn out length of time where it was just kind of minimal pain, but like accumulated over a long time. And at least for me, the tower sort of represents that, man. If something's going to bad happen, it's just going to happen really fast. It's not going to linger around and like tease you. It's going to go boom and be done, which is always a really good thing if it's going to be something bad. However, if you're practicing and you're a magician and you're a sorceress and a wizard and a witch and any other thing you want to do where you're projecting energy, this card is for you. As a matter of fact, we've never really talked about this before, but it used to be a really common practice to select a card out of the deck called the significator, and that card would represent the person that you were reading for, right? And like in the Celtic cross kind of scenario, it goes in the very center, and now all the cards get built on that, right? So you kind of come to have a card that represents that person. For me, it was the King of Cups for my teacher Augie. That's what's his significator for me. For my significator for Augie, it was a freaking tower. Absolutely, man, absolutely. But it wasn't because he was bad and like did stuff all the time. It was because he had that ability to like take that energy and focus that and become that, and be the action, not the reaction, and in that kind of like mindset, that card is amazing, like super amazing.
Is Augie's the guy who took you on that journey that we told, the story where you kind of just closed your eyes and reappeared in different places around?
No, that was
a different teacher.
That was
Gotcha.
But Og suddenly.
You've had some great teachers, man. Some great lessons and some great experiences.
I have been extremely, extremely fortunate. As a matter of fact, we're getting ready to do a Mondo winter solstice ritual for the goddess gathering.
Oh, nice. Awesome.
Yeah, and this is part 2. We use the full moon thing as the waning to like do that fear banishing.
The banishing,
and that was super intense, and oh man, that was crazy. And I've gotten such amazing feedback after that with people going, "Holy crap, that was woo."
They felt it. Right?
Yeah, so we're getting ready to do this blessing, year-end blessing thing. Now that we got everything all sparkly and clean, and it's this. Awesome. I'm bringing some of my magic from my African roots and the shamanistic stuff you're always referring to, and one of my happiest parts of that was my initiation into the cult of plants called Osine, and that's like the ruler of every plant in the world, right? So every once in a year, we would do this thing called a BOOOOOOO, which means it's Yoruba for good plants. And it's to take every plant now, just every single plant, and put those in these big vats and create what is called an omiero, which is an herb bath. And that's part of every ritual that is done in an Afro-Cuban sort of mode. Wow. And then you take that, you have people surrounding the vat or the big tub, and while the Babalao, the high priest, is reciting incantations, there's an answer that all the people like answer, like blah 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 blah, blessed be, blah 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 blah, blessed be, right? So while that's going on, they're tearing up the leaves and pouring energy into the water and to the liquid, and we're just building this up and building this up and building this up. And then at the end of that, everybody gets some of the water to take home, and then on New Year's Eve at midnight, pour it over the top of your head, down the back. And we're using that solstice energy, man. That's the most creative day of the year for me, man. My best work, bar none, has all started on that day. Both decks, like my best work of creative, any kind of creative nature, music, has all begun on that day. That is the most
Right.
amazing wave. So we're using that wave to like just go in with a really kind, like smooth wave. Thanks. Really grateful for all of the connections and the goodness that has happened this year. As difficult as this year has been at times, it is also, man, I just count my blessings every day.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
a bunch
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
people as well. So we're gonna send that out and ask for inspiration to navigate the coming year and just to have a little layer of protection and happiness and
Sounds awesome.
abundance, and it should be a really
That's
magical
Julie
evening.
wants a vial of the water.
Yeah. Well, you'll have to make your own too, Julie. We'll talk about
Yeah, yeah.
that.
Julie makes moon water all the time, and yeah, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Oh, you know what I want to do? I want to stick up the Wizard of Oz banner at the bottom there. So, just as always, if you're interested in what you're seeing here, or you're watching the replay and you haven't been here before, and you're like, "What the heck are these two guys doing?" wizardofod.com is a good place to go check out, where you could get this amazing deck that we're learning here on the Fool's Journey. And the tower, yeah. Brian was ready to blow up the house.
It's
Uh,
really, really crazy, crazy card. You know, that card is ruled by, yeah, can we look at that again? Let's blow that up a little bit, if you don't
oh yeah,
mind. Yeah.
absolutely, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I really love that card. I mean, it's just so intense. Those two objects, are mirrored at the top and the bottom, and it just they have the tower shape, but at the same time, they also just look like two screaming faces, which have just been zapped by some excruciating, intense lightning that's blowing up their world.
Yeah,
Really happy card, isn't it?
yeah.
It is if you're the lightning.
You keep saying that, and you know what?
Because it's
You don't like
interesting.
me.
After the devil card was a really intense ride for me, man. Like really fucking intense ride. Tuesday, I didn't know what I was gonna do, man. And I was already thinking, wow, the tower coming up. This is the perfect time to blow this fucking show up and get me out of this, man. This is killing me. I can't take it at all. God. It was just beyond words. I never expected the ride I've gotten in a million years,
Right.
And I'm on for it. And it got sent to me for a reason, obviously. So bring
Yep.
it,
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But you know what? I think there's an element of this ride that you're driving. You know what I mean? You're taking us on this ride. But
Well, true.
you're also going on the ride, but you're also you're the guide for the ride. You know what
No refunds.
I mean?
No
That's
money
great.
back guarantee
No
of
refunds.
any kind.
So
Yeah.
Jilly's always asking about the rune. She says that's the Hagala's rune. I guess she's talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. That's actually the very first rune I ever picked. And that rune is hail. It's called hail. And, the Vikings, all those Germanic guys, man, they had a rough ass existence, man. And, winters were super long. And especially during those times when the runes were there, that was a rough way to go, man. And hardly anybody survived. And so it was kind of in terms of all the stuff in nature that would come and crush your stuff. And in this particular instance, it is hail. And the way hail would come and show up and completely screw up your crops. So, that's it's unexpected, it's sudden, and perfectly connected to the energy of the tower. And this
Totally.
yeah.
Totally.
Jilly, what do you know about Hagalas?
She says she's on the Fool's Journey too, and she says, "Damn, tip the driver." So she's enjoying the journey. She's enjoying your guidance.
So did you experience the devil cards, Jen?
Um, I'm gonna say that I can certainly interpret the Fool's Journey as a mirror of the things I'm going through. you know, and even this tower card, you know, I feel like I know I know we're doing it week by week, so it's like, oh wait, it's got to happen this week. I don't think it's happening this week, but I think the tower card is a good representation of a shift for me, you know, for this year, and I'm gonna take it as that, you know.
You're in the middle of anything blowing up on you at the moment?
You know, yeah, my whole entire
Not
life.
digging into specifics, but
Yeah, no, my whole life is blown up on me. You know what I mean? It's
well,
like,
there's that.
you know,
Oh, just that. Okay, right.
you know, I mean, not in a bad way. It's blown up in a good way. It's blown up in a way that it's like, hey, man, you know, you're gonna have another year just like the same one you did last year, or you're gonna take a step up this year. You know what I mean?
What are you
That
gonna
kind of
do?
thing. Yeah, that kind of thing. So no, I'm ready to step up. I've been, you know, I pulled my head up out of the sand, and I've been looking around and seeing what's going on. And you know, I've been saying for a while, you know, the live stream of consciousness is a very positive based, a podcast, positivity based, and I've been saying for a while that, you know, I'm excited to be alive. There's a tumultuous shift going on in the vibration of humanity. It's very tumultuous, but it's a good shift, and I'm excited to be alive. And so I think, you know, this fool's journey has helped me take a look at my own life as exactly that, you know, like a journey and a learning experience, and you know, even break it down to the different steps. And you know, like you said, like the next time you go into it, you're a little bit wiser. So it's almost like knowing the different steps, you're like, all right, how can I make this step work for me in this go around, you know?
Right.
So
Which is the point of this whole thing anyway,
yeah,
man. You know, and really, as much as I'm bitching about it, it's the most magical thing that's ever happened to me, man. And the
yeah,
fact that it just is revealing like this in such a tangible, materialized way in the real world is miraculous
totally.
to me, and I feel so gifted to
I
be.
love. I gotta say, I feel gifted too, and I love how we are inspiring Jilly right now. She's just saying words and putting words out there: change, freedom, liberation, severe, necessary disruption, uh, honor, authenticity, imminent tower crumble. Yes. So yeah, I think this fool's journey is super significant. I think it's been a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to kind of the next part of it
Well,
where
you
we,
know what's really exciting for me? I mean, we'll get back to the cards here in just a second, but you know, we
yeah,
kind of made it through the like, we made it through the dark part now, you know?
yeah,
I mean, lust starts with this really intense energy, right? And then that goes into the hanged man, which is always, I don't care what they say, when I actually feel it and go through it, it's really melancholy and emotional and takes me to some really intense places that are really hard to visit. And I don't really enjoy that one at all, right? And then that's immediately followed by freaking death. And I had like two deaths, like right
that week.
where I live. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, and I walk out now and that guy's like apartment's empty now. And I like look over there and just go, Jesus, that what? Was really weird. You know, like 3 weeks ago, I'm playing, you know, I go over and play drums with them and sit there and we bang and like
Right.
roast up and have fun, you know. And now,
That's got to be
boom,
interesting.
just
Yeah,
gone. During the week of the death card. I mean, not that the
yeah.
death card caused that. That guy had,
Right.
you know, health
No,
problems.
but it's
But
got to be interesting for the energy that you're experiencing. Celestial is,
well, and then we got that little break with art, but even art is really intense transformation. And then we go into the devil. The devil was really, I want to talk about that just a little bit, but the devil was super intense. And now, you know, the freaking tower, which is either you're like really intensely managing it to be the lightning so that you're not getting zapped, or it's zapping you out of control and blowing your world up. Either way, that's not like a coast card, man. That's hello. You know, but the good thing about that is after that we've got like the star, which for me is always a grand card because that's the card that's related to Aquarius. And
Right.
That's my goal. That's my thing, and that's wishes fulfilled, man. That's like when it starts to come around, and the stuff starts to reveal, and all of the blessings and the goodness and the reward of fertilizing the garden and weeding
Right.
the garden, and it
That's what I'm
starts.
feeling. That's what I'm feeling, and that's why I'm like
Yeah.
these cards of like destruction and change. They don't really, like you said, they're not as scary as people make them out to be. They're
Well, and
actually
then after that, you've got the moon, which is about dreams and fantasies and that. And then right after that, it's the sun, man.
yeah.
Woo!
Yeah. Hey, you got to
Yeah.
go with the flow, man. The flow isn't always going this way, right? It goes up, it goes down. It's
Yeah.
you know.
Sometimes I want to get out of the flow, though, when the flow gets really super intense. But uh-oh.
You're stuck for a little while
It's too
here.
late. We'll have to ride it out.
That's right.
Yeah.
While we're in this dimension, this is what you got to do.
Yeah. So anyway, well, before we move on, the live stream of consciousness thing, you had Jesse on last week, and I
Yeah.
was super, super excited to see the band back together, man. You guys, I love you guys, and
Yeah.
and that shows kind of how this whole little scenario evolved, and how we first got on, and you've had some really amazing freaking people on there, man. Tommy Chong and a whole list of just people I've really enjoyed listening to and seeing, and I just wanted to, shoot you some kudos for like
Oh, thank you, man.
sticking
Yeah,
with
you
it, and
know,
like every week you've got somebody else up there. And
it's really been an amazing thing for me, and I think I have to even kind of, this is part of what we're talking about. I think I have to step it up, and I think like shoot for some guests that I really want to talk to, people whose brains I want to, scrape a little bit and see what they're thinking, and like Tommy Chong just kind of fell into my lap through another friend, and that was an amazing conversation. Lori Ladd, who's a really super up and coming author, was brought to me through Jill. Jill was like, "Hey, check this woman out, and let's reach out to her." And Jill reached out to her. So, again, the live stream represents this kind of intention that allows me to manifest stuff.
yeah,
Make
that's
stuff
really
happen.
cool.
It's really cool.
Great vehicle. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for the shout out.
Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry, I didn't mean to like divert.
No, thanks for the shout out. I'm trying to figure. That's part of what I'm trying to figure out for 2023, like what to do with these broadcasts that I'm doing, and how to really how to get them to reach the audiences, because I mean this broadcast is great, man. I know the people who do see it, they stumble across it and they're just like, I'm here. They subscribe. I'm getting emails every day like, oh, you got a new subscriber. So. I mean, I think we're on to something for sure. We just showed up. That's all we had to do.
Well, hopefully it was a little more than just sitting there.
Well, we showed up.
I know what you mean.
Showed up ourselves. Yeah, we showed up, and we had to. We were up.
Well, I'm really excited, man. I mean, there's so many new connections just with my little group of new Sebring friends, the Sebring witches. I mean,
Yeah.
really amazing, magical group, and I'm hoping this will kind of grow here, and it looks like a really the beginnings of a really badass little magical group is happening, and where this goes, the only options I see are fantastic. Like, oh my God,
Yeah.
wow, dreams. I keep
Totally.
waiting for to like wake up and go, man, I'm still living in Coconut Grove.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a long dream.
Yeah, one of the cool things I think about this shift in humanity is as much as you see in the media and kind of the mainstream, this breakdown of community, and things look like they're falling apart. I think if you look, and you and I know this, is communities are actually building up. People are finding like-minded people to hang with and be with, and just kind of get through the chaos with, and I think it's a good thing. I think things like this create community. You know what I mean? The goddess gatherings that you go to, those are these communities of people who all want to be together because they all feel the same way about being. You know, so awesome. So what else? What else can we say about the tower? Are we?
Well, I want to talk a little bit about the devil.
You want to talk about the devil? All right, let's
Yeah,
bring up
you
the
know,
devil.
at the end of the last week, you know, I was kind of like, well, where does this go? You know, we talked about the Red Book during that show, and that whole journey that Carl Jung took down into his shadow side, and how intense that energy was, and those parts of him that had been repressed and that still functioned down there, but without his interaction or having all of it function together, you know, and still having those fears and those unresolved, like, uh, paranoias, neuroses, like, you know, it stirs all of these dark things that, like, completely mess up your balance and your flow. And that's what they're intended to do, right? But you don't really get to be able to address those and fix them without getting to the root cause of that. And that's what Jung's trip was. And that's why I devised my own year-long little journey into that, which was super, super intense. And, you know, I was a good little Catholic kid, you know, a little altar boy. So I had all my Roman Catholic little personas and demons and the devil and that whole 9 yards, and have addressed that on, you know, more than one occasion. It's like, that's not like a thing you just go, okay, all done.
Right.
You know, there are layers, so many layers to all of
Sure.
that, because you built layers on that, layer upon layer upon layer, for the entirety of your life, you know,
Yep.
and probably brought some with you from, you know, lives before,
Yeah,
as
absolutely.
I've evidenced this time. So anyway, this I found myself the day after the show just like super exhausted. I was mad. I just almost threw the cards on the floor. Like, what the hell just happened? So I was really mad. I was really exhausted. I hated the show. I hated every word I said. I was like, man, okay, this is not really me, man. So what is going on here? So I kind of like got back into myself, but no matter what I tried to do that day, it just was wave after wave after wave of anger and just base emotions, jealousy, intensity. Ah, man. Fear out the ass, just anything that was a base emotion. I
Right.
just kept getting these scenes like thrown in front of my face, thrown in front of my face. Deal with this. Remember this? Yeah, well, what if this, you know, and like just crazy things that I just couldn't get control over. It was like a movie that was running. And all of a sudden I heard this weird little voice, kind of like in my guardian angels, my allies' voice. It said, Siddhartha. And I went, Siddhartha? Yeah, Siddhartha. So I started thinking back about that, and I read, you know, that was one of the first books I read when I went off on my little quest. I got Siddhartha and the Carlos Castaneda series.
Okay.
Anyway, at the end of Siddhartha, this is as he is approaching his enlightenment. He is sitting under the Bodhi tree, and Mara, who is the demon, comes up to tempt him and try to give up his enlightenment right at the last stage, so he doesn't become Buddha. So he goes to work on him, and you know, like I remembered. Okay, now that first step was exactly what happened in that story, right? So I went, well, wow, this is really weird. I mean, not that like attaching like I'm about to be Buddha or something, like, no, but I'm like, wow, this is
Right.
really weird. You know, here we are in the devil card, and you know, here I am trying to push, you know, my own evolution forward as much as I can this time around, and here I get blasted with all of this stuff, and after that, I'm like seeing like all like this whole sensory thing, man. This whole like sex and intensity and like all this sensual like woo, ah, 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 and I just never reacted, which was really unusual for me and very intentional because I kept wanting to react, man. It wasn't just random buttons. It was buttons that were deep for me that like really, if I had gone ahead and took the
Right,
bait,
right.
would have been really intense, man.
Right.
I'm like, wow, all right, no. And
That's
every time I
interesting.
started to go, I'm like, not going to some breathing.
Right,
You know, the
right.
other thing I wound up using was this fucking Jinsen Jitsu. It saved my ass
Oh,
more
wow.
times than I can tell you, man. As the anger stuff started coming up, I was grabbing my finger, man. As the fear
Yeah.
stuff
Oh,
started
yeah.
coming up, I was grabbing my finger. You know,
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
every one of those, I had this way of, and what's beautiful about those is like instantaneously, it is clearing a blockage in the flow of that emotion and
Yeah.
letting that flow so it's at a normal state. Because what happens when you get really scared or you're really worried or you're pissed off, you know, you take that flow of energy that normally like functions, you know, in relation to all the other ones, and all of a sudden it spikes. And now you've got this like inconsistency happening there, and these just like instantly start to do that. So before it could achieve any kind of momentum or groundswell to the point where it overflowed the top of the dam, I was already diluting it,
Right.
even
Right.
if it was happening.
Interesting. It's so interesting that how you're expressing yourself right now, what you're saying. So a couple of minutes ago, you were just talking about uh, the energy, and Jilly said, "Spiral around until you choose differently. Feel it, let it flow through you." And then you were talking about how you observed it instead of absorbing it, and Jilly's just kind of
Well, observed it rather than choosing to play.
right.
You know, it
Yeah.
takes two people it takes two
Right.
sides to
Exactly.
like engage. If
Right.
you
So you
don't
didn't
engage,
engage.
it
Right.
doesn't get you.
Engage
Yeah.
it. Right. That's what I think.
Yeah, exactly. So at the end of
That's
the
awesome.
death thing, man, it
What's
played
up,
the
Rick?
death thing, and then at the end of that, at the end of Tuesday, by the end of Tuesday, maybe first thing Wednesday morning after I got a pretty good night's sleep, I felt way better. I'm like,
Good.
wow,
There you go.
a new man. And yeah, so and as I've watched the week go by, it's like the tower didn't wait for like today. Like as soon as that got finished, and I went, okay, I'm good now. The tower sort of showed up, and interestingly enough, the role that showed up that I'm specifically playing was a lightning sort of role, which kind of tripped me out too. So this whole thing has just been like, oh my
But
God,
that's
what
good.
the
You
hell is
said
going
you
on?
said you'd rather be the lightning than the tower.
Oh, totally. No, I knew what this card was about, and for whatever ability I had, I programmed it to run that, man. I programmed it to run
Yeah.
that, man, because I did not want to be the fucking, I did not want to be the fucking lightning or tower, man. I didn't want mine blown up.
I hear you. So you had sent me a bunch of artwork earlier today. I didn't really get a chance to look. I looked at it very quickly, but it was very. It wasn't that long ago.
Well,
I didn't
there's
get a lot of
one
time.
called The Bridge of Faith.
Okay, so
These
you
were
wanna-
done about 30 years ago as I was really intensely on my journey. And Bridge
So
of
let's take
Faith
a look.
winds up being, that is a place in my own astral that I would go to practice. And what's kind of curious about this is I was talking to my friend Leah, and she was kind of describing this place that she would go to in her mind. And I went, hey, hang on a second. I went and
So
pulled this
what
in.
is
She
this?
went, what?
This is something that you created
It's
years
a
ago?
watercolor I did, yeah.
Wow, Brian, I don't think I've ever seen your watercolors.
No, I don't really show them very much anymore.
This is beautiful, man.
Hey, can you zoom in on that a little bit?
I can.
The stuff that's going on at the very bottom is kind of really crazy.
All right, let's take a look.
Yeah, like each one of those is a specific step of initiation. You know, like the little that where the flame is there in the front, that is the seal of Mercury. says wisdom and virtue are in his house, and the knowledge of all things dwell with him forever. And there's like the whole like 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet are like around the outside of that. And then the
Oh my
next one
gosh, it's
is the
beautiful.
seal of Solomon, and that's the circle that Solomon used to harness the demons to build the temple. And then each one of those little pillars all the way back to the back are different lessons. And can you scroll all the way up to the top? This is really very cool. This is the birth of the angel deck, dude.
This is, dude. I'm always blown away by things you show me that I haven't seen about you before, and I just had no idea you did watercolors. And I don't think I've. I mean, there's some things in this that I don't think I've seen in watercolors that you
N-
things that you've done here with the
No,
patterns and
it's
the
kind of a
hieroglyphs
different,
and the.
yeah, exactly.
This
And
is
that's the birth of the angel deck, dude. That's when I connected to them. That's the moment I connected to them. Is that crazy to kind of have? Like, I'm like, wow, at this point. And at that point, did I think that there would ever be some deck or like that would be some really kind of huge thing in my life? No, man. But to look back now and go, wow, that was the actual moment that that happened. Woo, kind of cool.
wow. This is beautiful, dude. I can't even believe what I'm
Can
looking
you
at.
zoom in on that little angel circle a little bit more?
No, that's the
You're
tightest
already
zoom I can
zoomed
get. Wait,
in?
oh,
Yeah,
oh, wait, hold
okay.
on. Maybe I can. Hold on, maybe I can. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah, woohoo. There you go. That's kind of a little solar system in the center there, and the little
Wow.
circle of angels around the outside of it, and that's the angels from the Shem Halmaforish that I use for the angel deck, and
Wow.
it's kind of blowing up. And the other reason I wanted to show you this is if you can scroll down that little tower thing that the wizard's on, it's blowing up.
Oh yeah. Look at that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
boom. Yeah, it's about to
Blowing
all
apart.
come crashing down. And
Yeah. Rick is saying, "Holy crap." And Julie's such depth, visibly, spiritually, and intellectually amazing. Yeah, dude, this is phenomenal. Holy freaking moly, Brian, you have done it again. Outdone yourself and showing more layers of your amazing self.
kind
Um,
of kind of a fun little guy. Yeah,
yes.
the other ones. Yeah, that's a good one too. That's when
Yeah.
I got the bowls. That's when I got the crystal bowls I have.
Wow.
Yeah, I love that one. I got to travel to Grand Canyon and spend some time down in Havasu Falls, and that was the
Wow.
inspiration for that. But this is a cool moment. Woo!
This is beautiful, dude. So beautiful. Wow.
I always love looking at. It's like I can hear the water. Yeah, that was an
Where do
intense
you
time,
come
man.
from, Brian? Where do you come from? This is just seriously,
Yeah. You're not the first
yeah.
person that's asked that, including me.
I love it. I love it so much.
Where the
It's
hell
it's
am I
it's
from?
so great. It's so great. Yeah, I mean, you are truly like beyond an artist. Like just
Well,
so connected to whatever it is that you're expressing here. It's yeah, amazing. So, all right. So we saw the Bridge of Faith. We saw
yeah, there's one more. I think
the
there's one
bowls.
more that's worth taking a look at. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I wrote this song called "Faith" that I do on a 12 string. Maybe we'll play that next week. It's pretty.
Cool.
I should cut a video to that actually, and
Oh
that's the notes to it.
wow,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, spiraling down,
You are a madman.
super fun.
Wow,
That's my actual guitar.
wow, wow. Look at that. The angels coming down the stairs.
These were really fun, but the light painting is even closer. It's like, yeah. Although, pretty fun.
Brian, again, amazing, amazing work. Uh, Again, if you're watching this and you're just stumbling across this show, wizardofod.com down at the bottom, that's where you can see a lot of Brian's stuff, and I think there's links to his other artwork there too as well.
That's true.
But this is the first time exclusive that we're seeing these paintings. That's awesome. Thank you for
That's
sharing.
true. Yeah.
These are awesome. And then there was also some other stuff you wanted to discuss. We still have a little bit of time. You had sent me this PDF.
Yeah,
Called,
this is a super great thing, man. Jilly, a couple other people have kind of latched on to some of the projective work and have really been making some progress and putting forth some serious effort to to get it. So this is one of my favorite little kind of a Tai Chi exercise to gather specific projective energy to your hands and to use this as an exercise to teach yourself how to project really, really fast. So every one of these hand positions, at the end of where those hands end up, you're projecting out of your the palms of your hand, and there are a number of I think there are 12 different positions. And I use this all the time. I learned that about 15 years ago. I use this all the time. It makes me feel so amazingly good. And it is a phenomenal technique for generating juice in your hands really super fast. So I'd like to, if anybody's interested, shoot us. We'll make the PDF available to you, and
yeah, yeah,
love for you to dive in. Yeah,
totally. Yeah, this is great. This is. I
and
was
maybe we can do a demonstration next week or something
cool.
if
Yeah,
anyone's interested in that.
cool. So I'm actually just going to pull this down for a second, and we got some comments here about your artwork. Julie loves your mind. Rick says it's always great rediscovering older artwork. I agree.
It really is.
I
Yeah.
feel like the artwork you created, and it's got this vibration to it that it always
It kind of
exists.
encapsulates a lot of the experience
Yeah,
of that
yeah,
time,
absolutely.
Because
I
those
feel like I could
watercolors
go
didn't happen overnight. Those took some time.
Yes, and you are getting, let's do a demo, let's do a demo, let's do a demo. So I think that this show may evolve into a more interactive,
That was my
physical
hope
thing.
from the
Yeah,
beginning.
yeah.
It really was.
I got to say, Janice, my girlfriend, is doing a broadcast she started called Unique Peace, and she's just interviewing people about what it is that they do, like their own personal kind of channel to peace. How do they find peace? Whether it be somebody going into the garden and kind of just losing themselves in gardening or whatever it might be. And she does a little meditation at the beginning, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like, it was really cool to see her do that, and like the audience was just kind of breathing with her. And so yeah, let's start doing that next week. I say yes. So Celeste says yay. So awesome. So hey, listen, I mean, we don't. Here's the one cool thing about doing a show like this is we don't have to fill up the hour if we don't.
Well, we're gonna fill up the hour with this reading I'm about to do right now.
Awesome. Well, let's
I've been sitting here shuffling these things the whole
he's
show.
Going to do reading. All right, let me bring up the old table.
Yeah, let's see. Hey, can you mute me?
You are muted.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. I'm just going to, what do we need to know about the coming week in the tower? Let's see. Let's do that like that. There we go. Okay, water column. Air column. Materialization. Earth. Oh, fuck you, man. Okay. Okay. So the energy surrounding this is the Emperor. There's a good go ahead from the big cheese in charge. There's a lot of energy surrounding it. This is lust and like some intensity to take that permission. And now that there's permission, now you just want to blast forward with all intent. And this is the beginning. This is the Ace of Pentacles, which is the grandest card for the beginning of a new business or new kind of endeavor. Um, there's a little danger in moving too quickly with that, and this card sort of slows that down a little bit, which is really good. This is the seven of, this is now the emotions surrounding all of this energy, right? So this is the Seven of Wands, and the Seven of Wands talks about being in a bit of an opposition. And the way this card, I'd learned this card was there was one guy with a staff and a wand, and surrounded by 6 other people with wands who are trying to attack him. But that person's up on the rise of the hill and has advantage. So even though it's going to be a bit of a struggle, he's going to kick some ass and not go down in defeat. Where this is right now is 2 people in love really hard, man. Like those really first part of yeah, a brand new relationship that is just beyond words. And the Ace of Wands, which is the beginning of primal fire and the absolute burst of energy that any new endeavor and undertaking needs to go with. So there's this whole scenario of, in both of these, of something new taking off and the energy being made available to do that. Wow, it's really hard to see, isn't it? There, it's a little better. Oh well, I'll fix that.
Yeah, it's light glare, but it's all right.
Okay, then into the air column we have the Magus of the Body, and the Magus of the Body is always a really good card, and that's having the ability and the effects that you need and the juice that you need to pull off, and the knowledge, cunning, and strategic planning that you need to pull off whatever scenario you're in the middle of. This is the Two of Wands, and that is 2 people that are usually coming together to affect another. Then this is the Four of Swords. This is the rest after a really significant battle. Oh my God! God, this fucking thing is crazy. All right. So then, the way this kind of will play out, if this plays out, oh man, it looks like I'm stuck there, Zin. Is this not moving?
No,
it is? Yeah, it's not showing on mine. Okay. So this is the Eight of Pentacles. The Eight of Pentacles is, that's the apprentice that has just begun something new. Usually it's somebody who has been doing something for a long time and they have decided to completely blow that up and change careers. And the cool thing about it is they're in the middle of learning. They've got a good teacher. They've got good mentors showing them the ropes of how it goes, and they'll learn very, very fast. And they get their methods together really quickly. But right at the moment, they're not making money because they're just learning. They're not, the Three of Pentacles is somebody that has mastered their stuff and is now starting to get paid a lot of dough. But this is that beginning part of that where the mastery is just beginning to happen, and that could be like a job, but that could also be your magic and your apprenticeship as a wizard as well. Okay, yeah.
The phone battery died because that camera went off. Yeah.
All right. So this, yeah, it could just be the fucking tower too, man. Because my phone is still on. We'll figure that out later. Yeah. All right. So this card is the Five of Pentacles, which is about financial destitution. Great.
Wonderful. That's
yeah, in the Rider-Waite deck, that is this old woman in rags, man, homeless woman, like pushing a cart.
Financial destitution.
Looking in the window of like this really wealthy family's having dinner and by the fire, and she's out in the snow freezing her ass off about to die without a cent to her name. So that's kind of where it is right at the moment. And yeah. kind of ugly. And then last but not least is the Five of Swords, which is about arguments, disagreements, and conflicts.
Mm.
Yeah, so I would say something needs to change in that energy flow.
Yeah, maybe that's why you're so tense.
I think we go up to that Magus and do something there. We go to that Two of Wands and change that up a little bit there, and fix that up. Maybe let's see.
Julie is saying deep freeze on deck next week. I don't know if she's talking about up here in New York. I know we're supposed to have some pretty
What does that mean, Julie?
frigid weather, but I don't know if she's relating it to the deck or what she's talking about. And
Well, I know 3 or 4 people that are on their own journey as well, and they have not been the lightning, and this would really kind of relate to what's sort of happening with that in really kind of intense ways. This relates to me, but it relates to a couple of other people really hard. So, just take stock, in what you can do to change your attitude about it, and just kind of like stay resolute with your faith that whatever's happening, no matter how like kind of nasty it seems at the moment, it is really totally 100% for the greater good and what you really need in order to move ahead. And no matter what this says, what you need to move ahead, you already have. So hold on to that and don't give that up. Right.
Rick's got a good question. Rick says, what do you do when the reading is daunting?
You look at where it could be. Like I would look at this and there are a couple of really intense places you could go to. You look at what the cards that are represented by what's there now, and that is lust in the energy column, the Two of Cups in the water column. Well, lust is amplified because that's in the fire column, and that is a fire card. The Two of Cups is amplified because that's a water card, and that's in the water card. The Two of Wands is in the air column, and that is about 2 people coming together to affect another one. And then the moment card is the five of Pentacles. So if I look at those cards and go, where could I go change that? The lust card represents an intensity of passion and the raw primal fire. And it's going after something. It doesn't give a fuck what the outcome is. It just wants it, And I kind of understand that space really well. But that would be a place where I'd go, let's get out of intense passion to kind of like a really smooth flow, and let's see where that goes for a moment.
Right.
Like that doesn't have to happen tomorrow. That could just take a back seat for a moment.
Kind of like cool it off a little bit.
Let's breathe a little bit. Let's take the passion out of that. That's one place you could look at that. Another place that you could look at that is the Two of Wands. And the Two of Wands is always about like, that's 2 people planning something on another individual, or businesses and a business. In this particular instance, probably another person. And if there were plans to be like doing a magical scenario to make someone feel a certain way, back the fuck off. Like really hard, back the fuck off. Like
interesting.
Just diffuse that intent, because it won't turn out good. It's going to turn out really ugly if you proceed, whereas if you take that intensity to try to make something happen and make someone do something, and you just leave it to the flow, it's going to work out probably really good and the way it's supposed to. And that's what the Tower is about, man. The shit that gets blown up right now needed to get blown up,
Right.
And if it blows up a way you're making money right now, that does not mean you're going to stay destitute. That means you're gonna like find a new way to make money, and
Right.
and it'll be built on a solid foundation this time instead of rubble, which
Right.
is or you know, like the sand shit that they built all those things in San Francisco on out near the bay, you know, and now
Right.
every time an earthquake happens, it turns to liquid.
Right. But I think that's what I was talking about too. Like it's kind of like this opportunity to for new growth. You know what I mean? You're clearing the space for what it should be. You know.
Yeah.
I think that's really that's what the
Yeah.
vibration I'm feeling.
Absolutely.
And trying to keep it that way. Cool. Awesome. And
So I just want to really wish everyone a super happy Christmas and holidays, and just express my really deepest gratitude to all my new friends up here, and all you guys that have joined in along the way, Celestial and Rick and Jilly B and you know J Lo and like all you guys, man.
Yeah.
Every single week you guys are here, and like it really
Much
helps
gratitude.
keep me going, man. You know, 'cause
Yeah.
it's been really intense, you know, and there've been a couple times I've gone, what the fuck am I doing, you know? And having you guys, knowing you guys were like looking for some stuff and we could connect on like stuff like that. It's been a really, really great thing. So
Yeah.
happy, thank you, and much joy and blessings on the solstice, and you know, we'll see you next week with the star.
Awesome. Everybody sending love. I love the moment right now. Feeling the love, sending the love, giving love. Awesome. Excellent. We will see you guys next week. It's going to come before you know it. So enjoy your Christmas and whatever holidays you're celebrating. And we love you. All right.
Hi.
Peace.
Bye.